Why are you interviewing me then?
Jules!
Inspirational!
You my intro!
Good.
This is what happens when you have Aussies on the show.
Yeah, I'm disruptive. Disruptive platform and a disruptive guest.
Hello and welcome to Diverse and Inclusive Leaders, the show where I interview the most inspirational and thought-provoking leaders of today. I'm with an absolute seasoned pro today, and honestly, be quiet for just 1 minute. 1 minute, Jules, you can do that. For 1 minute, I would like to introduce Jules because honestly, he is an absolute inspiration. I've been dying to meet him for ages. Not only has he got some incredible news that was actually only announced just yesterday, but he is a seasoned pro when it comes to film, TV, radio, entertainment. He's normally the one who is doing a lot of the interviewing himself. In fact, he interviewed Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, who actually spoke to his wife Anna. And God, I wish that I was Anna at that moment in time.
I thought I was going to lose her at that point. She wasn't going to come back. She was with Kit Harington instead.
Oh God, Kit Harington, if you're listening, I absolutely love you. Anyway, on to Jules again. So I was saying, I'm delighted to have Jules. He's here all the way from Australia. Absolutely love Australia. It's one of my favourite places in the world. And he's here today to talk to us all about his journey, about how he came to be where he is today as the founder of the incredibly successful multi-million-pound enterprise that is Tribe, the influencer marketing agency, from being a young Aussie kid who was collecting up golf balls and selling them back to people around the golf course, having his Labrador collect them and actually selling them back and then throwing dust all over people's cars so you could wash them and charge them for it. Do you know what? If that is not entrepreneurial, I don't know what is. So without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce Jules Lund.
Thank you. That was an incredible intro. Very good. I did start off quite dishonest though, didn't I, in life? That's how I was making my money. I was just stealing golf balls and shoplifting and setting things alight was my teenage years, but I found the right path.
So talk to us, rewind the clock back and kind of think holistically back to the young Jules. You're in the golf course. How did you kind of have this bright spark of an idea, or was it a number of ideas? Was it parents that kind of influenced you along the way? What made you the man that you are today?
Oh God, I'm just an opportunist, to be honest. I just want more than I have, and so I usually see opportunities. I go, I want that, and literally I just put my head down, work hard, and go after it. And early on in life, I never had any money. So I was thinking there's surely ways that I can just cut a side hustle out. And sometimes that wasn't always that honest. As you said, we had the car wash business out the front, $3 a car, but there wasn't a lot of demand. So that's where I took Mum's vacuum cleaner bag and just used to shower the cars at midnight. So that they'd wake up and go, this car looks really dirty. And then we'd be there going, car wash, $3. So I do the exact same thing right now with a category around influencer marketing. You've got to build the category and then you've got to sell to it.
Yeah, seriously though, I know that we kind of poke fun at the fact that you were chucking dust over cars and making cash for it. But actually, that really takes some steel. And I read up actually about a couple of your interviews, and someone had said that you had the biggest balls in marketing. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to ask Jules about that, because it takes some serious gravitas and confidence to get up there and start a business. So arrogance.
Arrogance or stupidity.
Confidence.
Yeah, okay, confidence.
Yes.
No, look, you only got one life, and honestly, I've always believed that there's not really a lot holding me back from having the life that I can design, and so I'm not scared of failing. Well, I'm scared of failing, but I actually, as I always say, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable, and so. For some reason, I'm just a sucker for that tension that you get when you're a bit scared and stressed. And so when I'm really relaxed, I sort of look for that sense of adrenaline. It makes me feel alive. And so whenever I'm a bit comfortable, I just go, what's a big, scary, ambitious goal? And I usually align those goals with whatever is interesting me at the time. Mm-hmm. So, early on in life, I love photography. I love drawing. So sort of, my first goal was to land the best graphic design course in Australia. And then my ambition was to work in TV. And so I said, what's the best job that I could find in TV, which was a travel show where I travelled around the world for 10 years and also hosted the red carpet for our TV awards. And then in radio, the top spot was already owned by friends of mine, actually, who are the best radio duo in the country. And they were leaving. And so I said, well, I'll just take that slot and follow them, which was pretty brave in a sense that I was a lamb to slaughter because it's a pretty hard act to follow. And then once I did that, there was another opportunity, even another peak, another summit. And so I said, I'm going to aim for that as well. And then when I sort of achieved that, I was like, what's the next big scary thing? And I believed that it would be around building a network of talented people to be able to generate marketing quality content. And that's what brings me to Tribe today, where I sit amongst a team of 75 talented people that are building a community of 60,000 odd.
Fantastic. And I'm dying to ask and to share with all of our listeners the big news that happened just yesterday.
Yeah, well, we've raised money over the years. We've been founded about 4 years ago, and I think we've raised probably, I would say, around £12 million. And what we announced yesterday was one of those investors is the most influential marketer on the planet, Keith Weed, who's the former CMO of Unilever, which is the second biggest advertiser on the planet. Unilever has, probably 100 odd brands like Magnum and Hellmann's mayonnaise, everything through to, partnership with Lipton and so on, just so many brands around the globe. So he's invested, and what's really amazing about that is that I'm not a marketer, but 4 years ago I had a hunch and thought I got to build something for marketers. So not only does it feel good to know that we have built something that marketers love, but the greatest marketer of all wants to put his own money in it, and so. That's cool. It's just a great feeling of awesome. We guessed and we're on the right track. And even if no matter what happens from here, that's something that'll always be a career highlight to go, right, we've tried to produce something for a specific customer type and we had to build it before it existed because, when building technology, you've got to be years ahead. And so, we've been building for today 4 years ago, and he says today, you were right, because right now we need that, which you've been working on. So that's cool.
That's just incredible. And he's such a fantastic, well-known name. To actually have skin in the game as well, that's just unbelievable. And I know you said just before the interview, you kind of felt like jumping over fences last night, because it's just so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And look, we've obviously known for close to 9 months that he's been interested, and we've gone through the process and, obviously got to prove that the business is what what we said it was originally, and we've delivered on those, but it's still fragile, like at any point it can derail. So when he's posting it on his LinkedIn last night, talking about this great opportunity to 300,000 marketers, ironically, it's influencer marketing. That is influencer marketing. He is someone that marketers look to, and he's like, here's a product that I use, which is Tribe. And so that is at the very essence of the entire ecosystem that we've been trying to build, which is where everyday people can celebrate to those that trust their opinion, the products that they already use and love. And that's pretty special.
Fantastic. And clearly this is a huge high for both you and for every one of the 75 individuals within the business. But talk to me a little bit more about some of the other key career highlights and potentially even lowlights, because there must have been some challenges along this kind of emotional roller coaster that is the life of Jules.
I haven't had any nervous breakdowns yet, so I want to hear about yours, because
Thank you for saying that to the camera.
You dropped that you've had a couple, and I want to I'm fascinated by saying maybe I have had some. I just haven't pressed the button yet.
The panic button.
Yeah, the panic button. So lowlights. Lowlights. So no matter how easily I achieve my goals, I'm always overly stressed, right? So my whole life has been a low light, in a sense that I'm stressed and never really having the confidence or the presence of mind to really enjoy things, right? So that's not a healthy state to be in. But, I think about myself in year 8, right, at 13 years of age, stressed out about science projects, because I just took me so much longer to get A+. I had to wag sport so I could work on a science poster, for 8 hours, because I was so meticulous. I'd get the A+, but it would just cost me a lot more. And I've always been that way. I've always believed that you look after the little things and big things happen, but to actually look after the little things when I'm such a micromanager is exhausting. So over the course, I've had wins in terms of moments that have, like I've worked on TV shows that haven't rated. I've been fired from radio shows because they haven't rated, but none of that has bothered me, because I don't want to be sitting around doing something that's not working either. So I move on pretty quick from that stuff, and I certainly don't begrudge anyone for going, this isn't working. I'm thankful. But I suppose a low light last year was pretty stressful. Raising this money that we're in the process of spending. We've just launched in Manhattan. A New York office that is designed to launch us into the States. But in raising that money last year and being away from my family so much and traveling all over the globe, and having to deliver to really big expectations of our current investors, and also to really wow potential investors, I got pretty stressed, and I turned pretty toxic. And it was actually, my own company that said, culturally you're pretty toxic right now. Like you gotta have a look at your anxiety, your micromanagement, your stress levels, etc. So that was a low light, because my CEO sat me down in a park in New York and said, "You're not in a good place." And I felt humiliated and ashamed, but I also knew that anyone that I trust, like him, who's got the confidence to have such an uncomfortable conversation with me, I'm very thankful for their courage there. And so I had to really take that seriously and make some massive changes in my life that have led me to a more balanced and healthy mental state this year.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and it's really heartwarming to see that you're so open and transparent about that, because I think it's not easy, but I think for business owners and for those that are in the spotlight all the time talking about the business, you're having to tell this kind of good news story. I think what was really nice about you, and some of the things that you said in the media, was that actually doing the fundraising part wasn't necessarily your strong point, or not something that you really enjoyed, because you're naturally, you're full of energy, you're full of beans, you exude this kind of confidence and energy, which is fantastic, but you're very creative, and that is where your strengths are. So having that kind of, almost that holistic approach where that I'm good at this, and actually I'm getting burnt out on that, and I'm willing to take and heed advice from others around me, I think is the mark of a good leader, frankly.
Thank you. I certainly didn't feel like a good leader last year, but I do a lot of leadership courses, and, try to understand what that is. And, as they say, the mark of a good leader is how many other leaders they develop. And I feel like I fail on that often. And then the other one is, a good leader is someone who lights a fire within people, not under them. And I probably lead with fear, like I'm a throw a rocket under someone at times. So finding that balance is tough, but it's a long journey. And as long as I'm upfront and honest and people tell me when I'm doing it wrong, then I can get better and evolve.
So talk to me a little bit about balancing. So you
Yep.
mentioned your family,
Mhm.
and obviously I'm an avid follower of the work that you do. I watched the awesome interview that you did with Kit Harington.
Oh, yeah,
You
great.
called up your wife, Anna, and kind of asked
Where
her
is that? I haven't seen that in
Oh,
years.
it's on YouTube. It's
Is
brilliant.
it?
He calls up and he's like, "Hi, Anna, who's your favourite character in Game
Ooh,
of Thrones?" And she's
lucky.
like, "It's
Tyrion."
Jon Snow." And it's brilliant. But I really love that you're kind of getting your family involved. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really nice and that's really authentic.
Well, why should I be the only one working for this money, huh? I got to bring them in. Come and help out.
How do you get that balance though? Because, you know, as an entrepreneur, I think it's a really difficult thing to do. And I think these days there's so many millennials, future generations that...
What was the second thing you said? Millennials and
Zillennials.
Zillennials. Whoa.
Yeah, generation X, Y, Z, as you'd say
Yeah.
in Australia.
And then alphas. Is that the next one after that?
Oh, I don't
It goes
know.
back to A again.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether it does.
It
but
does.
Perhaps I'm wrong.
I'll bet
here.
you.
Okay.
£5.
$5.
Hang on a sec. No, £5.
Okay, pounds,
$5.
pounds,
That's
okay.
like £3.
Well, someone look it up. We'll look it up
Yeah.
afterwards and find out.
Yeah, I think
whether
it's
that's
I think
true
it's
or
Generation
whether
Alpha.
I'm
But
wrong.
Zillennials, whew, that's a horrible sound.
We're getting
Not
old.
yours.
We're getting old, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, there's lots of people out there who would love to be an entrepreneur, who I'm sure would love to be sitting where you are right now.
They can. Take it.
And-
Give me a holiday.
And so, what kind of advice might you give to them for those who are either starting out in their journey, who
Yeah.
are, you know, potentially C-suite, seasoned executives?
Oh, yeah.
What can they learn, and how can they actually find that work-life balance? Because clearly you burnt the candle at both ends,
Yeah.
and it's worked out for you. But it's not always easy for people, is it?
No, it's not. I don't know the answer. It's around balance by any stretch of the imagination. It just never feels like there's enough hours in the day. And I certainly, if you spoke to my wife, she wouldn't be that impressed. There's just no way that I give her what she needs. You know, like I reckon I'm a good father. I work really hard there. I'd probably be a lot better husband. I certainly feel like I'd be a lot better founder. But I think the lion's share of my energy, my time, and my thought is my work at the moment. And I think that's probably selfish and indulgent. But I feel like once you're in this tunnel, like, you know, it's really all or nothing. And, you know, lucky I've got a family who's understanding of that despite, you know, the sacrifices. So in terms of the C-suite of those people that are going, right, I'm going to go out on my own and become an entrepreneur. I mean, you've got to go with your eyes open. I'm certainly not going to say it's all beer and Skittles, because I think you need a bit of a safety net. Like I don't think everyone can do it. I don't think, if you don't have a supportive family network that are understanding what you're doing, I think by you stepping out and putting their security at greater risk, the pressure is too much, and your marriage can break down. And so on the flip side also, you know, financially, you almost need to get a bit of a war chest, in my opinion. I don't think, because I think I did, you know, like I had a bit of money as a safety net, and I was very lucky. Like I wouldn't have, if I had a standing start and had no finances behind me, I don't think I would have taken as big a risk, because I sunk 250 grand of my own money before I even had an employee. You know, so that all could have just disappeared. Now, luckily, I get all that back once it gets off the ground, but very few people have that opportunity. So I was very lucky and blessed. Not saying other people have to do that, and I spent pretty quickly at that point because I just wanted to build this thing and I was impatient. But so I would be very aware of what you're doing. You know, it is fragile, and things don't always go according to plan, and having a great idea means F all at the end of the day, right? Your idea is everything and it's nothing. It's everything because you can't achieve anything without an amazing idea. But from there, it's all execution. And, you know, I wasn't smart enough to run my own business, which is why I hired people and the CEO and people to help me with that. but it requires it requires a really big swing. It's a real gamble, and I think it's absolutely worth it, and it's super exciting. And even if it fails, and even if you have a nervous breakdown, you're stronger for it. You've learned more about yourself, and you've gone through a process. But when you've got other people, other family members, you just got to be really tactical and smart about it. So rather than just cutting it and then going, right, I'm just going to go out and try my own new thing, and then you've got 6 months, and that's right, I'm going to earn some money because I'm going to be doing this thing. You've still got to put food on the table. And so you might be better off going, I'm going to do my corporate job for another 12 months, and on the side, I'm going to do another 10 hours a week just doing this on the side, so I've still got my safety now.
Is there anything that you would have done differently if you were to have your time again?
I mean, there's specific things around the business, absolutely. I would have done a few things in reverse in the business, absolutely. I never thought I did, but I'm identifying them now where I'm going, nah, I wish we'd done that earlier, and I wish we'd done that later. Anything else that I would have done differently? No. Not really. Not in terms of business. Not in terms of bigger decisions that I've made. I'm pretty fortunate for all the excitement and adventures that I've had in the path that I've chosen.
I love that, and I think adventures is exactly the right way to put it. When you're on an entrepreneurial journey or business or life in general, frankly, it's just a series of adventures one after another.
I sort of split them up, like every 5 years or 10 years I'll do something ridiculously stupid and just completely try and reinvent myself. And so after this, hopefully it works and I've got enough money, I'd love to do something like travel photography or actually just pull my head out of my ass and be more generous, because at the moment I'm not very community minded. My community is my family, and when I've got time, they get all of that, but I certainly have to pay it forward and give back to more people out there that deserve it more than I.
And what about the kids then? I mean, are they at the age yet where they're starting to consider business or what dad does?
Look, I haven't met them yet, but I've heard that... No, I'm joking. They're 9 and 6, so don't know how to answer that question yet. I don't know what sort of life I want for them, but it's not up to me anyway. So,
would you encourage them to have a life of entrepreneurialism like you've had?
I to be honest, I can't even spell entrepreneurialism. So
you can spell beer and Skittles.
I can, but I can't, like, there's U's and E's in entrepreneur, and I know I can't because on the landing card when I'm flying, it's the only time I can't use autocorrect to write entrepreneur, and I've got to write it, and I'm E's and U's all over the place. And that's what I'm talking is my occupation. So I don't see the lens of entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what it was 3 years ago, but I do know for sure whatever those kids want, I'll say, go out, get off your ass, work for it, and be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Brilliant. And at the moment, they're over in Oz selling golf balls.
Exactly, absolutely. No, they don't know about my past.
As soon as they're old enough to watch YouTube, I'm sure that they will.
They'll get it.
So just on to another couple of quick questions then, because I know that you're a really busy man and you've got lots of people lined up wanting to speak to you about various different things.
Not really.
I'm just going to ask another few quick things. Obviously, the show is called Diverse and Inclusive Leaders. I know for you, you know, you're very much about kind of embracing everyone, your family, your community, the work life is your community. What does diversity and inclusion mean to you?
To be honest, once again, I've never even heard that term until about 3 months ago, when we started to move in America, and that was the important conversation topic. I mean, we've built this company over the last 4 years. We've got 75 people in 5 cities across the globe. What does it mean to me? It doesn't mean a lot because I've never really thought about it. I think it feels at different times like diversity and inclusion is the fix for a problem. And in our company, we haven't seen it with a lens that has created much of an issue to begin with because we've just started with a blank canvas. And I don't see male, female, ethnicity, religion, sexuality. I couldn't give a flying. I I don't even notice it, and nor do I care. I mean, it's no different than my friendship group, who are all, whether they're gay, they're bi, they're from different religions. There's diversity in my group. So I think it's just an extension of my world. So can we do a better job if I actually put you just got to be aware that you don't want to go, God, we've just hired a whole heap of people who are exactly the same. So there's a time where you go, right, if we've got a choice between two people over here, we'll get the one that's different, right, if they're equal. But the issue that what I get nervous about is actually introducing discrimination into our business because of diversity and inclusion, where you start to say, hey, we need a girl, so they're not greatest for the job, they're not culturally the best fit, but we're now going to discriminate against the right candidate to have a girl. And so then I think I'm more cautious about that more than anything.
How would you define success, and what is success for you personally?
It changes for me every 6 months, I reckon. And I hope that I'm evolving to have a greater sense of what success is. I have difficulty answering that question because it's not aligned to what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Like genuinely success. Like I had a 40th birthday the other night. I had 10 people sitting around a table and we were having dinner, my closest friends, and it was just a really casual affair. And there were not meant to be any speeches, but then all of a sudden everyone just started to share their stories, right? And I was sharing stories about me, and no one really talked about what I'd done. Everyone and they don't give a shit. They're my friends. They don't care about whether I've got a nice house or what jobs I had. Like, no one's talking about, you did really well there. They're just talking about all those moments when they were at a loss or they really needed support, whether, they needed an oncologist because, on Boxing Day, they found out that their mum had cancer, or, there was all of these, or people needed a loan at some point, or people who felt alone or struggling because they're living overseas. I don't know. All these things, everyone shared all these beautiful stories. And it was, I can't remember half of them. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I go, oh yeah, that's great. And that was the meaningful, that was the success. At the end of the day, that's what is the point of it all. And none of that shit did I make any effort. Mm-hmm. So just being present, being around is actually probably the greatest success. And so here I am going a very roundabout way to do what I'm already doing well and doing the thing that means the most. And so, because the money and all of that stuff, no one gave a shit about that. And they're all the people that I care most about. So success to me is sitting around that table, hearing those beautiful, beautiful thoughts. I would love to earn a shitload of money from Tribe after it and know that I've built and helped invest in people to get to the next stage for their own personal growth. Like, it's just a platform where right now 75 people are actually able to test and express who they are, to learn more about themselves, make some money along the way, get smarter, build lifelong friendships. But for me, I'm loving that journey, but I want to make some money because then I don't have to work as hard and sacrifice as much of those important things in the future, and I don't want to work this hard again. And so success for me is the definition of wealth, and the definition of wealth is freedom. It's to have what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, and however you interpret that. So I want to, and then the funniest thing is the greatest value of all that is time, right? And yet the amount of time I'm wasting away from the people I love most is a dichotomy that I still do not know how to reconcile.
That's such a beautiful answer. Honestly, it really is, and so well articulated. Success is sitting around the table and ultimately having that wealth, not in the monetary sense. Yeah. But
I mean, I paid for dinner, so probably I need a bit of money.
Okay, so final question then, and it's not who's your favourite superhero, because I already know who that is.
Jon Snow.
No, it's Captain America.
Oh yeah, Captain America.
Captain America is what you said.
Yeah.
But Who has been your biggest inspiration throughout your life? And it could be someone within business, it could be a family member, it could be anyone. Who's been your biggest inspiration?
My best mate, Sammy Cav.
Sammy Cav.
Yeah, his name's Sam. I get tears in my eyes just thinking about and answering this question. I'm a bit tired. He inspires me to be a better person in every capacity. You know, whether that's health, as a friend, in work, spiritually, mental health. He's just such a enlightened human, and he's well ahead of me in understanding the values of life. And when I spend time with him, and he doesn't push it on me, he's not my coach, but just watching how he lives his life with gentle, you should try this, is just, in its simplest form, it inspires me to be better each time. So I'm running the New York Marathon with him this year. I would never be doing that unless he inspired me. And so, he would be my biggest inspiration.
Thank you so much. I can feel that he means such
if
a lot
I cried,
to you.
I would have killed you. I didn't break tears. I'm safe.
Ultimately, I would like to prove that you can do a good thing, you can still make a lot of
there's no question there. And in fact, it's never been a better time to do that. And just because you are doing good doesn't mean you can't be commercial out of it. I reckon, I think that's such a beautiful, I think that's going to change the world. When people go, like you look at the people that are presidents and prime ministers, the reason they're idiots is because they don't get paid enough. But then you've got amazing CEOs. No, if you get amazing CEOs, those amazing CEOs could change the world if they were leaders of our political parties, because they're smart people, but they're not going to do that But as soon as you go, I would be paying those guys more and the head of the banks less. You know, imagine the world would be a better place because of that very reason. We should all be, you know, I think that's fantastic. Good chat.
Thank you so much
for
being here today. And you've almost got me welling up in tears now. So I'm gonna cut this and say thank you so much. I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in today. You've been listening to the unbelievably inspiring and very, very frank and funny Jules Lund, all the way from Australia. You've been listening to Diverse and Inclusive Leaders, the podcast show available on all of your favourite podcasts apps, Apple, Stitcher, etc., and also now on YouTube. You can check out www.dialglobal.org and you can get in touch with us via LinkedIn or any of these social media platforms. Thank you so much again.
No worries,
really
thank you.
Appreciate it, and see you again next week. Thank you so much for watching the Diverse and Inclusive Leaders podcast. Please do feel free to hit the like button below, or if you'd like to receive future notifications, do ping the notification bell here at the side. If you're interested in the audio version only, you can find it on the following streaming platforms. Any extra info and descriptions will be in the links below. Look forward to seeing you soon.